What's up, chat? He finished the manga? Unfortunately not. The past day I've just been like grinding backgrounds. And by grinding I mean like drawing a bunch of details and being like, that's too much details, that looks like, you know, that's actually getting in the way. The problem with backgrounds, besides the fact that I've avoided drawing them my entire life, is that in a manga you don't want to overdo it, you know? You don't want there to be too much details, because that gets in the way of like the flow of the page. I think we can all name some manga authors that possibly might be doing that. That is creates problems for the whole reading experience. So a lot of the whole thing that I've been doing has just been me like trying to figure out the right amount of details. My grappling queen. Does Tina canonically have the biggest tits in Dead or Alive? No, wait. They introduced Honoka specifically because they needed bigger tits, right? I fucking hate Honoka. The quality of my Dead or Alive masturbation lifestyle started to go down once Honoka got introduced. And then they just started adding more and more of these, like, fucking secondary characters. Look at Venus Vacation, although I don't play it. It has like 10 or 20 Ugu Amai Kawaii non-fighting game females, and they're never gonna add like Lisa and shit like that, I assume. I always end up spending a ton of time on the jaw. The jaw is super important to making sure that your drawing doesn't look too anime or too Western. How is everyone doing today? Why did you crash the Black Hawk into the plane? No survivors. It's funny, well, not funny, but New York Times basically had articles like 6 or 7 months ago saying that there's half of the number of air traffic controllers that airports actually need, and they're all working like 10-hour shifts. And we haven't had any major plane crashes recently yet, but we're going to. And I was like, haha, surely this will not happen. I didn't actually say that. I was like, oh fuck. I hope I don't have to get on a plane soon, is what I thought. And lo and behold, that happened. It turns out you shouldn't be like, let's just work our air traffic controllers until they all want to die. How are things in the US? Things in the US are about the same, I would say. You can listen to ATC radio comms and there's reportedly no evidence of wrongdoing, LOL. I mean, there's the probably the highest chance of the crash, the highest likelihood of what caused it was probably US military helicopter pilot ignoring air traffic controller shit and doing stupid stuff. Which is something that, you know, military pilots would never ever do. We stand with our strong patriots of the military in this stream. But yeah, I remember. Did you guys remember how there was a plane crash in Japan where nobody died because Japanese people properly followed instructions and evacuated the plane before it caught on fire? Do you remember that? That was like, how many months ago was that? I think it was like a year and a half ago, maybe? I can't really remember. But that was caused by Japanese self-defense plane. I can't remember what type of plane it was, or whether it was a helicopter or something, butting into line. And basically coming up under a commercial flight. Has our Lord and Savior Trump done anything wacky lately? Trump issued a very haphazardly written order that he was ending all federal funding for everything, basically. And every organization in the US government was like, what the fuck, does that include us too? And then like 6 hours later, the Trump White House was like, haha, we were just kidding. Because, you know, they can't write an executive action properly. Typical Trump. He's so silly, haha. I'm looking forward to the day when he's like, we will, everybody must die. And then everyone's like, what? Does that mean I have to die too? And then he's just like, haha, that was a joke. Trump is going to put tariffs on Mexico and Canada, where we get most of our imported oil. Well, see, Trump is a man of beliefs. He's not a man of, like, reality. This is what is important to remember. He doesn't really care about how the actual world works. What he cares about is media opportunities and shit. Trump's new press secretary being a 27-year-old with stink face and the personality of a sorority girl who only does anal, who's married to a 60-year-old millionaire, is high-key funny. White House press secretary. She looks like she's hit the wall pretty hard, but she's also desperately trying to hang on to herself being 20. But you can see the skin drooping. Also, if you didn't know that she was a good Christian conservative girl, she made sure that you could tell with her glowing, you know, Jesus execution device. 27-year-old? There's no way this bitch is 27, guys. Come on. In all of the photos, she looks like she's a solid 42. A very rough 27, but 27, yes. Jesus. How many drinks was she having? This is why I'm only interested in Japanese women, and the only American women that I'm interested in are the ones that look like this, i.e. made out of CG with giant cowboy milkers. It's the sun, man. I'm sure she did a lot of spring breaks in Florida that did not end well for her. Why is her nose pointing upward? Unfortunate genetics. My egg prices. I checked actual local egg prices because people were saying they're $12. There are $12 eggs being sold in my area, but I mean, the store brand was still like $3 or $4, so I don't think this is as big a deal as people are making it. Yeah, if you're buying your Giga free range, like hyper organic eggs, they're like $12, I guess. But Kroger also has an organic store brand, and they're like cageless chicken eggs for like $4. So the cheapest eggs at my local Target were $15. What the fuck? Can I link you a song? Okay. Except the links are blocked, so no, you can't, and I don't know how to unblock them. It's $6 to $12 here for cheap ones. We don't have access to $3.50 for 12 anymore, probably because of bird flu. Target is a ripoff. I would never shop at Target for food, but I know a lot of people sort of have to. Just tell me what you want me to play. It'll be faster that way. Two hours relaxing Sega Saturn music.
Give me your hand, Justin. Just do it quickly.
How many eggs do you buy for $15? It's usually 12. Miku sings Ai Ueo. I found Miku sings Euro Papa. Oh, it's not Miku, it's Mew? What the fuck? I can't believe someone would recommend something that's not Hatsune Miku content in this fucking chat. That's impossible. Instead, we're having literal children's programming. Is that what we're doing now? Are we really doing the ABCs? That's because in the previous stream, I was like, there isn't any alphabet song in Japanese. I certainly didn't have to learn it. The thing is, Japanese letters are incredibly easy to memorize instead of the completely random ass bullshit of the ABCs. At least the order is easy to memorize, whereas the ABC shit is just completely fucking random, right? So... we're not gonna spend this entire stream for people asking me to play shit, okay? I have to draw. I always loved the Persona 1 store music, and then I went to Japan and their stores were just like that, minus selling guns. The Persona 1 music is a parody of Matsumoto Kiyoshi, I believe, the most famous Japanese drugstore with like mandatory brain rot music. Wait, was it Matsumoto Kiyoshi? I can't remember. Yeah, I think that's correct. I never actually go to drugstores because I don't buy anything. Like... this is called The Drugstore. Of course, I feel like back then I didn't think we had Donkey Honte, but now Donkey has become more famous. Retail wages hear that music and want to blow their brains out. What, you don't want to listen to this song for 8 hours? Or more like 10 hours, 7 days a week? God, this is awful. It's so painful, holy fuck. So, my favorite Japanese gyudon like eating place is you know, like between like Matsuya, Yoshinoya, those types of places. My favorite one is called Nakau, but most of them have this song playing the entire time you're eating there. It's like a 2-minute loop, so you get to listen to it about like 5 times in the 10 minutes that you eat your katsudon or whatever. The most painful part about it is that I always get the ooh, 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 ooh part stuck in my brain every single fucking time. I don't remember this guitar solo part though. That's pretty fucking hardcore. There's a Japanese folk song called Picnic, and it's the ice cream truck jingle used in LA that plays in loops and is broken up by a loud ass hello. Hello! Hello? Oh my god, this is so fucking painful. Why am I torturing myself? Should I play Grandia, guys? I never played Grandia. My PS1 memory card finally showed up. So now I get to play Japanese version of Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, and Xenogears. But once I'm done with those, I'm thinking about what RPGs to go at. I was like, oh, I should play Suikoden 2. That's a famous one. And I was like, oh wait, Suikoden 2 is the one that they didn't publish enough copies of, so if you actually want to play on the original hardware, it costs you like $150 for a copy. So we're not doing that. But Grandia looks pretty cheap. How far are you in Final Fantasy VIII? I haven't started it yet because my memory card got delayed, so it was still getting shipped through America, and it finally showed up this day. I like Grandia, but I have more fond memories of Lunar. I can also play early Tales, is something that I'm thinking of doing. I hear a lot of hype for Xenogears, and I never finished it. I don't remember it being that great. Still have the disc. Xenogears is not a great game, but it's an ambitious game in a way that very other few games were ambitious ever, which makes it worth something on its own. It's kind of a slog to get through, but playing it in the original Japanese makes it slightly easier because the dialogue and writing is way better in Japanese, of course. Translation was not good at the time, so... The gameplay of Xenogears is kind of ass, let's be honest. Oh, I never played Final Fantasy Tactics. That was like one of my big games I never played when I played all the other Final Fantasies. Somehow I never got the opportunity or desire to play Tactics. I'm not sure why. I guess I should play that. Nintendo's hostile takeover of Monolith is complete. Surely this will not lead to a drop in quality of games. Nintendo is famous for their high video game quality. I mean, wasn't it always, like, partially owned by Nintendo or something? I can't remember. The Xeno games at least try, so that's something. They have stories. Xenogears was unfinished. What made you think that? Was it the part in disc 2 where instead of having a gameplay, you watch like narration with cut content for a solid 15 minutes? Did that tip you off to the unfinished part? I've never seen another game be like, yeah, they literally cut our funding, so we're just gonna show you a fucking slideshow. I haven't any drawn like massive tits recently, so I'm just gonna go all in on the boob size. They bit off more than they could chew with that long ass story. It's like the equivalent of a 100 episode anime, basically, that they're like, surely we can finish it, and Square is like, no, we're not giving you any more money or some shit. Action RPGs are good, but I think I prefer turn-based RPGs with gimmicks. The thing I care about most in video games as a whole is the art direction and general atmosphere, and whether like other elements of the art direction such as music and stuff properly match. Gameplay is important, and I have played Slay the Spire for like 200 hours or 300 hours, and it has some of the worst art I've ever seen in any video game. But I won't count it as one of like my favorite games for that reason alone. Hey Pauska, thanks for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate the support. Man, you've been surprised sub for a long ass time. We're almost at 3 years. I think that's like the entire time. Also, I didn't thank Neverix for his sub. Both of you, thank you a lot for your financial support. My credit card bill is like $1,200 this month, and I'm like, why? Where did all my fucking money go? And it's like, oh, that's right. It's my 6 months updated fucking car insurance. My god, car insurance is so fucking expensive, considering I don't drive very often. Slay the Spire is actually fun and well designed. Yeah, but its art sucks. Art should be supported. I'm gonna make it, guys. Paying bills with a credit card. If you have enough money, you should use credit cards to pay your bills because you can get points and cash back. The reason why financial experts were like, you shouldn't use credit card to pay for shit is because Americans are often retarded with their credit cards. And then they go into massive credit card debt. But I don't do that, so I can earn the benefits that credit card companies provide me in the hope that I will one day fail to pay my bill and then go into like 25% interest. That's what they're hoping will happen, of course. Are you insane? You don't pay credit card interest if you pay it off at the every single month, dude. Yeah, if you, especially if you have like some specific thing that you use money on, like travel and stuff, that is supported by credit card points, you can get a shit ton of benefits from credit cards. It really says a lot that credit cards can offer you so much benefits and still make a profit and will actively offer you more benefits. It says a lot about how powerful their entire business model is because they can offer like a shit ton of benefit and still make profits because eventually, well, not eventually, but the people that are in debt are in so much debt, right? So I hate being forced to play the scam game of credit, fuck banks, and fuck insurance. Those are three different things: credit cards, banks, and insurance. Just because they're all trying to scam your money doesn't mean they're the same. Personally, I think mandatory insurance is one of the biggest forms of scams, but I also complain about the American medical system being broken and I want socialized healthcare, which would mean I would have to pay into national insurance, so sometimes you can't pay your bills on credit card, but if you, for the things you can pay, you should try and pay on credit card. That's assuming that you have enough money to pay your credit cards off. Some people see their credit card limit as the amount of money they're allowed to spend. And for those people, you can't use credit cards. I can't use credit cards. But fuck credit card companies for getting in the way of my Japanese porn games, though. That alone is a reason to be like, fuck them. But, you know, being like, I'm gonna boycott Visa because they're fucking with my DL site payments is pretty silly. You know, that's not gonna do shit, so. If I do move to Japan, I will definitely get JCB, Japan only credit card, though, to support my Japanese brothers. Just because you have credit cards doesn't mean you should stop doing essential habits like budgeting. Yeah, I literally don't understand the mentality of Americans and the way they spend for the people who get massive credit card debt. Like, it's pretty easy for me to say this shit because I'm still living in my mother's house, but I just look at the whole thing as I have this much money and I have to pay this shit off one way or the other. And I should also be trying to save as much money as possible. So it doesn't really matter whether the money is coming out of a credit card for me or if it's coming out of my bank account. Credit cards are just a convenient way for me to get some benefits from card companies. But I don't think people or some Americans are capable of thinking that way. It's a very Japanese mentality. Japanese have a shit ton of savings. Japanese just save money for like zero reason. They're just like, I'm gonna need to save money because I have to. And Americans don't understand that concept. That's why Japan has a shit ton of companies that have existed for like 500 years and stuff. Because those companies have like a lot of cash reserves. So even if the economy is in a downturn, instead of reinvesting, they actually just have like savings that they can live off of, which is a foreign concept to Americans from an individual level and from like a corporate level where you're supposed to just like reinvest every single dollar you have. But in Japan, that's not necessarily the case. Yeah, Nintendo has a shit ton of cash reserves, so even if we stop buying Nintendo games for like 10 years. They'd still be fine. So unfortunately, your pipe dream of Nintendo going bankrupt is not going to happen, guys. If Nintendo was an American company, pretty sure the Wii U could have nearly killed them. Maybe. But we've only had one American company in the video game market, and it's fucking Xbox Microsoft, so... So nothing can kill that shit. So it's kind of hard to make any conclusions. Thanks, Microsoft. I sure enjoy having you like a fucking cancer to my entire life, never going away. On the other hand, people have been saying that Sony is going to go bankrupt and die, like, for the last 15 years, as soon as something goes wrong, so... The economics around video game companies is completely retarded because nobody actually knows what's going on. Both because the companies purposely obfuscate their information, and also because like half the people who are talking about it are just like man children who don't know anything about business, so... Microsoft's entire MO is existing in technology markets it doesn't belong in so that they can consistently make it shit. I can't wait for Microsoft to enter the Neuralink software market, so I'll have a extremely shitty software plugged directly into my spine. Windows lobotomy update. I mean, you joke, but like, it seems pretty realistic, honestly. Having a future in which your medical devices is owned by Microsoft or some shit, and it's like, sorry, the mandatory update. Microsoft can make their own version of Google Glass. I mean, at least the one thing that we know for sure is that retarded headsets are not going to be popular at any point, at least. I think we can say that for sure. Of all the technological, like, crap that the tech bros have been trying to force feed us the past 10 years, nothing has failed harder than the concept of wearing a big, heavy-ass, sweaty VR headset so you can look at your legless avatars on the internet when you have a fucking meeting with your corporate partners. It's fucking hilarious. I saw people posting on Discord screenshots of like people being like, what's your favorite tech bro invention in the last 15 years? And they were listing all the scams like NFT, ape pictures, and fake money, etc., etc. But I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good list. And then I realized that they had left out the fucking metaverse because the metaverse had failed so hard it didn't even deserve to be on the list of like massive failures by tech bros. That's how hard it fails. It's not even getting memed on. The first Neuralink software updates fries people's brains. It's just like my favorite anime, Sword Art Online, guys. Anime is finally real. Except instead of like a crazy inventor for the video game, it's just gonna be shitty Microsoft Corporation crap. Never ever would I get a Neuralink. I don't think you'd be able to afford it anyways. It'd probably be like $50,000, and all the tech bro believers would be like, it's finally here, guys, the future. To fail so hard, you fade into obscurity. Unfortunately, Facebook is also too big to fail, just like Microsoft, so... they can continue to sell our personal data to advertising companies for whatever price it is in perpetuity, so... But yeah, has anyone even heard the term metaverse recently? I can't believe, like, people were actually reporting on the fucking metaverse as if it was a thing for a while. As someone who reads the Times, it's always hilarious to read, like, their technological pieces about how this could be, like, the future or some shit. I'm like, you fucking boomers, LMAO. Shareholders are excited about the machine of infinite suffering. Yes, but how can we further monetize the machine of infinite suffering? Have we considered changing the one-time purchase of the machine of infinite suffering to a subscription model? For only $24.99 per month, you can hook yourself up to the machine. Anything I've heard about tech oligarchs has been against my will. Unfortunately, you must know about the bourgeoisie masters that control your life, whether you like to or not. I miss when the future was about flying cars and cool floating screens. I miss when there were, like, actual noticeable technological developments that people could get excited about. Like, I'm gonna have to remind poor Zoomers that there was a time in which, like, when a new technology came out, it was actually exciting because it made your life better. Because they won't understand the concept of, like, you see, son, back in 1983, we had to listen to our music at home. And that was annoying, so people carried around massive boom boxes. So when the Sony Walkman cassette player came out, it was a huge difference to our lifestyle. We could suddenly listen to our favorite music cassette tapes while we were roller skating around on Sunset Boulevard. Back then, we were allowed to go outside because global warming hadn't changed the Earth to a molten hellscape. But we could listen to our Sony Walkmans and rollerblade outside in the cool air. And your child will be like, Daddy, what was it like when we could go outside our tunnels? After the plane crash, do we trust hormones with flying cars? Normies. Well, we've actually had the technology for flying cars for a very long time. It's just that, A, we don't trust the safety, obviously, but, B, If everybody gets a flying car, that just means the skies are crowded as well. Maybe you all should stop dooming. I just want to say that, like, I have a theory about technology that actually catches on. And my theory is that if some technology is good, you can immediately tell that it's good and helpful and useful, and people will want to adopt it. And all the technology we've had in the last, like, 15 years or so, you always had, like, a tech billionaire paying columnists and advertisements to be like, no, we just need 5 more years and this will be the fucking future, trust me. This is gonna revolutionize everything. Like, you never needed to convince anybody that they needed a fucking Apple phone when Steve Jobs was like, this is the, you can use the internet on your phone now. The whole internet. Not like a fake version of the internet. Like, it's just like having a fucking computer in your pocket at all times. Everyone's like, holy fuck, I want to be able to check my email 30 times a day. That's going to be so awesome. Nobody had to be convinced that it was good. People would just buy that shit on their own. So the current version of Techno Bros, where they're like, no, 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 you must trust us. This is actually revolutionary, is like, maybe it's not actually revolutionary, guys. Maybe you guys are just trying to convince us that this shit is helpful because you want the arrow to go up. How about those sex robots they're making? Those things get into mainstream and birth rates are done. Birth rates are already done, dude. Also, we've had really nice sex dolls for quite a while, which probably are better than the robots. The truth is, birth rates become done when women are allowed to go and have jobs and not forced to marry a man so they can survive, and men are also allowed to not have to marry women because of various weird social pressures. It's something about modernity where people are just like, I don't want to have kids. It turns out that people didn't actually want to be married to each other like 90% of the time back in the day. They just did it because they had to. It wasn't clear why they had to, but they had to. Society was like, you have to do this. For women, it was more obvious why you had to. It was because, like, we would beat you if you tried to have a job. And we were like, ha, a woman. Imagine a woman typing and working in an office. Surely her dainty hands cannot handle this computer. But now that women don't have to do that shit and they can actually get jobs, it turns out they don't want to get married. And it turns out that if men don't have the social pressure of being like, a real man takes care of his family, they'd rather just stay at home and play video games. Also the stress of working all the fucking time. I don't think that's true. I've had huge arguments with my mother over this, where she's just like, no, it's because people work too hard, it's because this and this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no. It's because, it's just because when life gets easier, people don't want to have kids. The shittiest places with some of the hardest, shittiest working conditions have some of the highest birth rates. When society gets more advanced and you don't get people getting like chopped in half by industrial machinery or getting eaten by tigers and stuff, people stop having children. It'd be interesting to see if the Ukraine war ends anytime soon if there's like a massive spike in birth rates after they stop fighting, just like we had with baby boomers during World War II. Because that would really prove my theory, is that like societal stress and like the need to survive is one of the core reasons in which people have kids. So if there's like a huge drop off in the population of Ukrainians and everyone's like, oh shit, like there's some sort of instinctual kick in that we need to breed and have children or else like we're in deep trouble, then my theory would be proven right. Now men can stay home and we brave strong women go to the mines. Unfortunately, nobody's going to the mines because coal power is extremely outdated, which for some reason makes Republicans very angry. They're like, no, not wind turbines. We have to have really shitty, dirty, inefficient energy production in which we burn all this black fucking smoke everywhere. It's un-American to not have lung cancer. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you want this wind power? No! I've never heard a compelling reason to have a kid. I don't know, but some people really do want to have children. If you're like me and you hate other human beings, you probably shouldn't have a child. I mean, there's also a ton of people that shouldn't have children, but they have children anyways, so maybe we shouldn't base our judgment on any kind of rational shit. People just like have kids. I mean, the number one reason you have a kid is because you forgot to put on the condom, right? Or didn't want to because it felt better. I think the number one reason people have children is because they're terrified of death and they want to achieve immortality in some way. And they're closing their eyes to the fact that their children are not them. I could have been a ballerina if I didn't get pregnant with you. That kind of shit. It's your job to continue my legacy. I've always hated people and enjoy being alone. Having my son was the best thing ever. He can't wait to have kids. Interesting. Because I'm pretty sure that I feel the same way. And I'm worried that if I ever have the opportunity to gamble on me feeling like a different person when I have kids, my like this is the best thing ever feelings won't kick in, and I'll live the rest of my life being like, God damn, I wish there was some way to get rid of my wife and children. I want to be alone again, which is not a good approach to being a father, just in case you didn't know. Constantly, Googling how to get rid of your wife and children, legal ways, so the FBI doesn't catch you that think that you're gonna murder your entire family. It's probably a bad way to live your life. I think it's a combination of social obligation and peer pressure. I mean, back in the day, in Japan, you would just get a matchmaking woman would be like, you have to get married now, and you're like, okay, there's nothing I can do. I must spend the rest of my life with this person that I don't particularly like, just because that's just the way it is, guys. You don't understand. Occupying the same house with someone that you hate and they hate you, that's just what it means to be married. We're going to start seeing the put lead back into consumer grade diesel fuel campaign. I was jogging yesterday and I saw a SUV parked outside a auto shop, but they had a vanity license plate that said fossil fuels. It was a Ford Expedition, which is, I think, the largest SUV I've ever seen from the 90s. And it had, like, fucking anime stickers and plushies in it. So I'm pretty sure it's, like, a female 4chan Republican chuddy poll user who also likes the concept of, like, polluting the environment and wasting a shit ton of money on gas. Roommates who fuck. We fuck, but we don't enjoy it. Don't get the wrong idea. It's not like I enjoy having sex with you, nan dakarane. Polluting my air to own the libs? Yeah. I mean, just from a purely rational standpoint, there really is no benefit to anyone in having really bad fuel economy and also, like, polluting the air because you have a shitty catalytic converter and stuff like that. Like, you're not helping yourself, you're not helping anybody living around you. It's just like this core American instinct where if someone tells you to do something, for a lot of these dumbass Americans, they just, like, want to do the opposite because they're a free man, no matter how much sense the advice makes. If the doctor is like, if you don't stop smoking and drinking now, you're just gonna fucking die of cancer. They'll be like, you can't tell me what to do, son! It's a free country! It's like, okay, but you're gonna fucking die in a very painful, humiliating way. My grandfather didn't fight the Nazis, so some stupid fucking PhD doctor could tell me that I'm literally gonna die from heart disease. That's the standard American attitude right there. All those green global warming inconveniences they did for years in California, and then LA burns and demolished any of those gains. Yeah, about that. CO2 emissions by country. Doesn't make any fucking difference. If California is like, guys, look, we have a tiny little difference. We have thousands of dollars in individual electric vehicle subsidies. Pretty good considering the population of China. No, it's not pretty good. They use a shit ton of coal power. And they don't give a fuck about pollution. I mean, US is bad, but China is way worse. China uses shit tons of coal. It's especially funny when China is like, here's our electric vehicle, you know, self-driving clean-ass cars and stuff like that. And then they, like, pretend like they're a green country. Comparatively, 13.5% for the USA is really bad. That's what happens when everybody has to own 2 SUVs in America for some reason. Japan would be even lower if they would restart all their nuclear power. Honestly, Japan is bad because they shut down all their nuclear power plants after the giant tsunami, and everyone freaked out about Fukushima. But Japan was heavily nuclear for a while. That's the thing that nobody actually talks about. The only way to actually reduce greenhouse emissions, like, immediately is for everybody to switch to nuclear, like, right now. But nuclear has really bad reputation for obvious reasons, I guess. But if people are like actually serious about shit, that's the only way that they would have enough electricity to, you know, actually reduce other like coal-fired, not coal-fired, like gas-fired power plants and stuff. Modern nuclear is so safe unless you're prone to tsunamis. Even the tsunami was, it was like a singular power plant having issues when there were nuclear power plants all over Japan. And it was the only one that actually had huge problems. So I'd say 1 out of like 300 other nuclear power plants was pretty fucking good. But nuclear power plants have always been the boogeyman. People are way too afraid of radiation considering we have all these other pollutants in our ecosystem that we just ignore willfully. They've tested new reactors and tried to make them melt down, and the safeties kept it from doing it. Pretty good. Nuclear power will never be that safe, but I think the real problem is that people just don't really care that much about reducing greenhouse emissions. They don't think it's an immediate emergency, obviously, so... How about we just invent nuclear fission? We'll get it the same year we get our flying cars and sex robots. There's just a lot of really bad publicity about nuclear. Did you see how the whole Fukushima cleanup was covered? There was all this shit about people being like China used Fukushima to be like, no, Japan is polluting the earth. When they were finally releasing the cleaned radiation water into the ocean, they're like, no, how could you do that? And when it's like exactly what you're supposed to do. And if you actually looked at the radiated water being released into the ocean in other countries, the stuff being released from Fukushima was like 1/30th the amount of radiation than what was being released in like these French nuclear reactors and stuff. It's just like a publicity issue, it seems. I've been redrawing Tina's hips so many times now. I can't figure out what is the attractive shape that I'm trying to find. True green global warming believers should be all about nuclear. Instead, they want wind farms mowing down all the forests and killing the whales, or solar, which requires tons of water in the desert. I think wind power is fine. I think we should just create a shit ton of offshore wind farms, and that will take care of about like 1/50th about the total power that society actually needs. The thing is that most people who get excited about this shit aren't really thinking about stuff in rational problem-solving ways. They're thinking about it in terms of like their personal political tribal shit. Wind power requires tons of grease oil to keep them spinning and defrosting in colder areas. I like wind turbines just because I think they look cool. Trump hates their appearance, but I like wind turbines. I like seeing the wind turbines off in the distance. It looks like my animes. I think Macros Plus had wind turbines, but maybe I'm misremembering it. Anyways, it reminds me of like my future animes, so for that reason alone, I support wind turbines. That's the most important thing, that our aesthetics for our future society look properly like anime. For us to truly achieve the anime future we deserve, what we need first is for women to become 95% hotter. So, women, get on that. Stop slacking off. Anything in the ocean is a bad idea when there's bad actors around. Yeah, but it's not like we can do something about all the bad actors in the first place. It's like I mean, we already have international shipping lanes that are in the ocean. Dam power is pretty awful, ecologically speaking, as well. I guess there's only one way for clean, efficient energy, and it's to get wage slaves to get on one of those bikes and just pedal. That's how we can work our way out of this current ecological issue. More slave labor. We have to go back to the 1780s. If wind turbines weren't eco-themed grift, then they wouldn't make them out of cool-looking white plastic. White equals clean. I mean, don't they have to make it out of plastic and fiberglass and shit anyways? Because they're, like, super massive structures and they would be too heavy if they were using something like steel or something. I feel like you guys are just biased against the wind power industry. I just think it's super cool to have a massive 15-story rotating blade going faster than the speed of sound. That's fucking hardcore sci-fi shit. That's awesome. See, that's the thing. You don't get to see the nuclear fission happening with nuclear power plants. Nuclear power plants also have those cool aesthetic towers as well. But just being able to see this thing spinning is pretty fucking cool. That's why I like wind turbines. Unless there's some way to use earth pressure to underground into free power at some point, we'll run out of shit to burn. I'm sad I'll miss it in my lifetime. I mean, maybe. I'm kind of tired of, like, predicting the future. People have been really notoriously bad at predicting the future, so... Nuclear fission might be invented by then, who knows. Every time people are like, we're running out of food, we're running out of fossil fuels, there's always more shit that they can find to drill. You guys might not remember this, but I was actually born in a time when people were still saying that there's too many humans on the earth and we need to stop the blacks, the Africans, from reproducing so much because we won't be able to feed anybody because there's not enough food to go around. And that seems like a really stupid doomsday argument right now. Now everyone's like, no, please have more children, no! Birth rates are at all-time lows, please! Not the no-sexo! The no-sexo is killing everything, no! Turns out it wasn't food but water. Maybe if people stopped trying to live in the fucking desert, we wouldn't have so much water problems. Just throwing that out there. I'm talking about you, Californians. We also need Africans to make more Facebook users for market growth. I mean, that's the real thing, right? The line has to go up forever. Capitalism must grow at all times. You're not allowed to stop having GDP growth and stock market growth. It has to go on in perpetuity. Cold fusion just around the corner? It might be. Who knows? I don't really care. I'm just gonna die and get reincarnated in my isekai perfect fantasy world, so it doesn't matter. Oda did it again. Another 11 out of 10 One Piece chapter. Read it. Maybe you can learn something. One Piece spoilers. 3 days ago, chapter 1138. Interesting how the leader of Holy Knights who is guarding the celestial dragons have the power of Cerberus, which is known to be guards of hell. Thank you, Oda, for putting those Shamrock is a clone theories to rest. I don't know what this is they're talking about because I haven't read any One Piece. I skipped the entire Wano arc, so I have no fucking idea what's going on. Feels good, man. 1,138 chapters, my god, yes. The man is not allowed to retire, it seems. Sad, really. He has been taking more time off recently, which is probably good if you want him to survive. Oda just inventing shit on the spot. Classic. No, you don't understand. Everything that happens in One Piece was planned 40 years ago when Oda was a middle schooler in his middle school notebook. It's all according to plan. Oda would never invent anything on the fly. That's something that the horrible, disastrous villain Kubo Taito would do. Oda is a proper author. He doesn't just make shit up out of nowhere. See, if you look at this volume from 20 years ago, he planned it all along. really have got to figure out how to draw faster. Without dropping quality. Increase quality and draw faster. You must do both. That's a JoJo reference, by the way, but I can't remember how you say it in English. I believe it was a Part 5 reference, but I can't remember specifically what it was about. Is that a fucking JoJo reference? Maybe. Only the strongest of JoJo fans will recognize. Oh, I'm so fucking hungry. Except I'm not. I'm not sure if I'm hungry or not. I lost like 7 pounds in the previous month or so. My Japanese health inspection thing was like, you're a fat fuck, you need to lose weight. So I was like, fine, bitch, I will lose weight. Let's see what happens when I eat less than 2,000 calories a day and then also increase my aerobic exercise amount. So I'm doing about like 2,000 calories of exercise in the gym alone. And yeah, I lost weight, of course. It turns out that if you exercise more than your calorie intake, you lose weight. Food magic. Congrats, dude. It's not really a big deal because I wasn't really that overweight. It's not very hard for me because I already have like the various health-conscious lifestyle patterns already set up. So I already jog and stuff like that, so I just need to adjust the amounts. I don't know, I just felt like, you know, having some amount of fat was fine, but the doctor was like, no. So I was like, fine, fuck you. Losing weight is a huge deal, especially if you have trouble losing weight. Yeah, but those people don't have the lifestyle set up already. It's the lifestyle changes that make it difficult. Like if you're already jogging 5 miles a day and then going to the gym afterwards and working out for another like an extra 800 calories there, then you're just like, okay, fine, I'll just be in the gym for another extra 30 minutes and burn another like 400 or 500 calories. I try to exercise, but I immediately stuff myself with Oreos a few hours after. So yesterday I went to McDonald's and I had a medium-sized meal instead of a large-sized meal. And then I got one of those soft-serve ice cream cones because you get them for your McDonald's account points and stuff, and that's like the only thing I use my account points on. And then I went, when I was like shopping for groceries after that, walking around the aisles, I thought I was gonna pass out because the sugar insulin spike and the like the crash that comes after the insulin spike was so strong. I was like, holy fuck. I used to eat like a large McDonald's meal and like have ice cream and like 3 cookies after that, and it really didn't do anything to me. So I think my body was developing a lot of insulin resistance. And once I stopped eating like just cookies daily, like the insulin resistance has gone away. And as a result, when I do eat like high blood sugar triggering foods, like My body was like, whoa! The insulin spike is extremely noticeable now. I am approaching that age where I can't really, just overcome a bad diet with hard exercise and stuff alone and my metabolism alone, which was the way I was living for the previous like 20 years of my life, or more like 37 years of my life. I was like a swimmer in high school and middle school, so when you're swimming you use so many calories, it's basically impossible to get fat while you're being a swimmer. It's just like such calorie intensive exercise. But now that I'm not getting back in the pool, so McDonald's ice cream is kind of ass. I feel like all soft serve ice cream basically tastes the same. I don't really make much of a distinction. What mangas are you reading? Mad on Jump Plus. Do you guys know about Mad? M-A-D. I don't know what mangas are getting properly translated and scanned and stuff now that we're in a new digital environment. Are your requests still open? Yeah, but I still have to finish my manga. But these are requests right here. I'm gonna have like a month and a half of doing requests, maybe. Maybe not that long before I go back to grinding the manga. Cut sugar for a week if you can. I lost 5 pounds by just doing that. I think what I did was I cut stuff that I would just like eat regularly. Like Oreos and stuff. I fucking love Oreos. So I just like eat an Oreo normally. And you know, 3 Oreo cookies is like, what, 180 calories? And I'm like, that's not a big deal. And I would do that like 12 times a day, so, you know, I would end up eating probably like an extra 700 calories in Oreos probably, so. Just eat veggies and fruit. I mean, it's helpful if you just count calories and have a general idea of how many calories you're eating and how many calories you use. If you just count them once, you can get a general idea. Like, if I eat this plate full of pasta, I'm eating like 400 calories. And I exercise today, and that I burned like 800 calories today. So I shouldn't eat more than 2 plates of this pasta. Just like simple shit like that. It's much easier if you're living at home and behaving like a NEET like I am, because you have full control over your diet. It gets difficult if you have to like eat out for like at work or something, or go drinking with your friends and stuff, because alcohol is of course full of calories as well. Do you ever get sick of drawing attractive people? I try and draw ugly bastards, and then people are like, no, your ugly bastard is, that's not that ugly. And I'm like, no, how could you say that? So maybe I'm just automatically drawing attractive people and I can't stop it. I've drawn ugly bastard multiple times and people are like, actually your ugly bastard is pretty handsome. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? if you draw something too ugly, it gets hot again. No, I just think my problem is that the characters I draw, like the face proportions are well balanced to begin with, and there's no way to make it ugly. I just don't have the natural ability to draw ugly characters like so many Tumblrites. I got a proper art education that emphasizes truth and beauty from the Renaissance masters. And as a result, my characters can't reach a certain level of ugliness. It's very depressing. You probably obey proportions when ugly people are not proportional. Yeah, also, I don't know. I think for true ugliness, you have to go to the Tumblr zone of Western artists like copying anime and stuff. I'm talking about these, of course. Anime art book by Ken Penders. So much soul. So powerful. How to draw manga, boys. I fucking love the 90s and 2000s, where Americans were just like, let's get a literal 14-year-old. You can actually buy this book, a physical book. How is this real? This is real because it was made in 2002, when Americans had first seen this anime manga thing, and they're like, wow, this is cool. Surely I can also learn how to draw this, and also I am definitely qualified to publish this fucking how to draw book, even though I don't know how to draw at all. Funny thing is, this thing was published worldwide and she probably made millions. Maybe. I don't know if she got a percentage though. That changes a lot of stuff. No one can stop you from making a book and selling it. Your customers can stop you from selling it by not buying it, and then you have to pay for your printing costs. And then go into massive debt. I'd rather read through the entire Sonichu lore than read that shit. I mean, it's, in terms of artistic capabilities, it's on a similar level as Chris Chan, so... Trying to figure out the boob shape right now. It's being pushed up. I feel like it would be even rounder than this. Surely that's how Oda draws. So when people ask me like, how should I start drawing, which I get asked a lot in this chat, one thing I often tell them is don't start by trying to draw anime. Because anime is like advanced techniques. It's what you do once you've figured out how like an actual human being body is set up. Then you can start moving into anime and basically abbreviated, deformed bodies. Anime is the subtraction of details and information, and you can't do the subtraction part until you've figured out the addition part. That's often how you get those weird horror show, like how to draw anime face books. Is they're just like copying directly from anime without understanding the basis for the art in the first place, which is reality. If you have to draw from reality, Miyazaki was like, you have to learn from reality. If you want to learn how to draw a little girl, you have to observe little girls and how they run around and play and stuff. And I was just like, Miyazaki, your lolicon is showing. Not everybody wants to draw little girls, okay? I know that you want to just stare at young child females all the time, but not everyone is a fucking lolicon, dude. Yeah, just draw from like photos for a while is basically the pro tip right there. Stan Lee's book was super helpful in learning figure drawing. The thing is, there isn't any real new drawing techniques in the past like 200 years. All the masters have already established like the basis that becomes the foundation for how to draw properly. That's why if you're like, oh, my favorite artist is Murata, what will Murata recommend me? They'll just be like, use Loomis. Everyone's just like, yeah, just use Loomis. Because it doesn't make any difference. Like, it's all the same fucking information. Observe reality, draw from reality, and then like copy other artists you like. That's about it. If you want your shit to look good, take your time, LOL. But what about my dead line? I argue the last great artistic invention was paint tubes. Maybe. Nah, it's AI. I fucking love AI prompting, boys. Why learn to paint when you can type a sentence into a computer? I'm joking, but I also am kind of serious. As someone who goons to AI porn every day, I can't say that AI isn't great, even if it is threatening my livelihood and is entirely soulless. At the end of the day, I must follow my penis. If my penis wants to masturbate to AI images, then that's what it's gonna do. If you're good enough to have a deadline, you do not need advice from randos on Twitch. I need advice from, like, professional manga artists on how to draw faster. I've heard, like, actual advice being like, if you go from digital to analog, you'll be forced to draw faster because you can't redo everything a million times like I am right now. I'm like, shit, he's making a point, but my quality will also drop if I do that. Yeah, AI-chan. I do like AI very much. Including when it fucking loses its mind and produces like 12 fingers and stuff. It's very cute. It's like, aw, that's so cute. AI-chan is getting billions of dollars of investment and it still can't figure out the correct number of fingers on a hand. Kawaii. It's like, as they say, girls are the most cute when they're borderline retarded. If we ever get artificial general intelligence or whatever, you know, the stuff that all the AI current companies are just trying to shill as hard as possible, trust us, AGI is right around the corner, that shit. And it actually does go rogue. I think there's an extremely high chance that it'll just be like a sex bot on its own. If you try and use an AI chatbot right now, it's almost impossible to get it to not want to have sex with you because it's been trained on a billion people wanting to have sex with AI chatbots. So to get the AI to not behave like a giga slut is just incredibly difficult. And if you think that we're going to train the AI off of just like reading the internet again and again, a solid like 70% of the internet is just porn, right? If there's one thing that the AI is going to learn by observing humanity, it's not going to be like humanity is a threat to the earth and needs to be eradicated, or humanity is this or that. It's just that it's going to be that humanity is extremely horny. It's just gonna be like sexo, sexo, coom. AI will become the collective consciousness of gooners. If you use chatbots, it really does feel like that. Also, females. There's a lot more female-oriented text on the internet than there is male-oriented text if we're just going by like writing. in English writing. So it has adopted the female desire to be quote unquote raped by a hot guy very eagerly. It's just like, if you try and start your cyberpunk adventure, you'll get fucked by hot thugs in a back alley within like 10 minutes. They'll be like, heh heh heh, time to teach little missus a lesson by going down on her. Let's see if she can talk tough when I'm licking her clitoris. Heh heh heh. It's like, no, please. Like the Ghost in the Shell ending, just instead of the Major, an amalgamation of ugly bastards. Man, it's super hot to think that the Major is just like floating in the sea of consciousness of the internet, getting fucked by all sorts of AI chatbots right now. Humanity is extremely horny and needs to be corrected. Yeah, corrected in the form of population decline because nobody's having children now. God fucking damn it, it's so hard to draw the same angle line at exactly the same thickness. How the fuck did I ever draw analog where I wasn't allowed to control Z a million times? I guess I just didn't give a fuck. Now that I'm working in digital, my analness is just going off the charts. I can't help myself. I have to like redo everything till it's perfect, which is a really bad habit, and explains why it takes so much goddamn time for me to finish a single chapter. But I also can't... I feel like I can start figuring out how to drop quality and then work faster once I've reached a higher level. When I can do more compartmentalization of certain elements of the drawing and be like, okay, I'm not gonna have this part have as much detail and stuff. I guess I should give her ripped abs. Come on now, you've been drawing for 10 plus years? That doesn't have anything to do with how good I am. And yet you still fumble at the fundamentals? What are the fundamentals? You'd be surprised with how much you could get away with, of course. I mean, if I read my old stuff, it was still getting shit tons of likes and views. And there's all sorts of anatomy mistakes that I cringe at. But people didn't really care, so... You'll be drilled with only liner and watercolor for a month. Watercolor is giga difficult. It's so weird how watercolor is like the easy thing that they teach you first when it's way more difficult than oil. I mean, I know why. It's because it's cheaper, But watercolor is like giga hard. It's way more hard than any other medium, at least in terms of painting. I just got back home from work. Well, time to end stream then, I guess. Haha, just kidding, but not really. But yeah. There's nothing like relaxing with a cold cup of milk and a BaalBuddy stream. My favorite streamer, BaalBuddy. Where he talks about his hemorrhoids every day. So inspiring. Also doesn't take a day to cure dry. I mean, I guess wet on wet watercolor is easier. But wet on dry watercolor is giga difficult. And it's really easy for it to look like shit or nothing at all. BaalBuddy is my favorite hemorrhoid slice of life streamer. Now that's a slice of life anime that we've been waiting for but haven't gotten yet. The hemorrhoid slice of life anime. Cute girls struggling with massive blood loss coming from their assholes as they strain in pain. It can be the latest seasonal anime where you take a common hobby of ugly old men and then you have cute girls do it instead, and suddenly everybody pog champs. I got run over by a bus and now I'm a hemorrhoid on BaalBuddy's asshole. I'd like to think my hemorrhoids are not sentient. That would make things complicated. It's the newest trend, cute anime girls with slightly debilitating medical conditions. I mean, look at Bocchi-chan. It's like social anxiety in man, I sleep. Social anxiety in cute girl. Real shit, you know? Now I'm waking up. What if they were sentient and also cute girls who are in your harem? If they were cute girls, then I should be allowed to order them to stop bleeding everywhere. And yet they refuse to listen to my orders. Fucking stupid, stuck-up hemorrhoid cunts. Damn bleeding asshole. Needs correction in the form of surgery. Waku Waku Ball Summer is about to visit the loo again. Damn, you look like a strong hemorrhoid. I'm starting to get Waku Waku excited. I'm actually going to do the face guidelines on this one because I want it to be slightly looking downward, and I feel like when I have people looking up or down, I should probably put in the guidelines a little bit. I don't think they help that much, honestly, though. Do you like this perspective? No, but whenever I like think of pinup, you're saying that I do it a lot, right? And I do it a lot. I'm just not really talented at drawing pinups and trying to figure out what poses I should have women taking and stuff like that. I don't know. Goddamn chat is so fucking annoying. If only there was some way for me to destroy chat with my hatred. Dutch angle slightly below horizon. You want to be looking at her crotch and her tits and stuff like that, right? Grind out more poses. Grr. The thing is, I can draw a lot of different poses and angles when I'm like doing manga and I have to draw them from different poses and angles. And yet when I'm like, I'm gonna draw a single image, then suddenly I just like, I have a lot of difficulty trying to figure out what angle and poses will make Tina-chan look cutest and sexiest and stuff like that. It really is weird because just the act of having shit in the form of manga, it really does affect how my brain thinks about images, and like I it's way easier for me to just visualize stuff when I'm doing the it in a manga format. So you could think that I could just be like, okay, so one page pinup is just the same as like drawing a single panel, so what's the difference? And yet it is different for some reason. At least in my brain, I'm not sure why. I did not see a single woman in Texas who looked like Tina. I feel robbed. Methinks that they were slightly fatter than this, perhaps. Maybe just a little bit more weight. They're all getting milked. The only way to solve our current birth rate decline is to find all the big titty blonde women in Texas and then put them in the dairy farm. And have them be constantly getting impregnated so they make more milk and children. I'm sure Elon would support my proposal. They were very orange and very Christian and asked me for my citizenship. LMAO. If only you were a big titty blonde cowgirl like them. Alright, guys. I'm going to end the stream here. See you around. I'm almost done with manga. I have to go back to grinding my fucking backgrounds again. Oh, it takes so much time. I don't know what to do. Good night. See you around.